Good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Oshtemo Charter Township Board meeting for February 24th, 2026. At this time, I will call the meeting to order and invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Next, we will move to item 3, which is remote location identification for remote attendance when permitted by statute. See, all are here except Trustee Cole, and I have not heard from Trustee Cole, so we will move forward and hopefully she will join us. Next, we have the Township mission, vision, and core values, and I invite a member of this body to read a core value.
Core value, commitment to continuous improvement to government operations.
Thank you, Trustee Ford. Next is item 5, approval of the agenda. You have the agenda before you this evening. Do I have any members of this body wishing to make any changes to the agenda? There are none. I would be ready for a motion.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Ford, Cole, or Sikora, second by Trustee Ford. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Next, we have item 6, which is public officials and community partner updates. Don't see, sometimes our county commissioner joins us as well as the road commission, but I don't see them here with us, so we will move on to item 7. This is public comment time. Anyone here in the public wishing to make public comment on any of the items in the consent agenda or non-regular session items, this would be your opportunity to come forward, and you have 4 minutes. Seeing none and no hands raised online, I will close public comment and we'll move to the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening consists of the meeting minutes of the regular meeting of February 10th, 2026, letter of support request, Household Hazardous Waste Center, and the Westport Village Phase 3, Step 3 final plan approval. There are no questions. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
A motion by Trustee Ford, support by Trustee Sikora. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 with 1 absent. Apologies, clerk. Next, we have item number 9, and we have a presentation. Oshtemo Fire Department has asked for a little time on our regular agenda monthly to give us monthly updates instead of quarterly. So we have our Deputy Chief with us this evening, Eric Burkhart, who's going to make that presentation. Our Chief, I believe, is at a training, is at a training, but I see Chief is with us on the phone as well. So, and be kind to our Deputy Chief as his voice is hampered by some sort of bug.
I feel like I've been sick for the last 6 months, so. Okay, we're going to try to do this. So, thank you for having us tonight, the fire department tonight. What's coming around is a copy of what I'm presenting. In the future, we're not going to have a presentation up on the screen. It'll just be a handout that you'll receive. But I wanted to walk you through this first one since this is kind of our inaugural monthly report and what's on it. And then I would request any feedback or anything you think should be added to it. So I'll walk you through it real quick. So at the very top is just our mission statement, and then That will be followed by an executive summary. This is an executive summary that is written by our chief, and it just kind of, a couple of the highlights on what we, as a fire department, and him specifically as the fire chief, are focused on the month previous. So this is January's monthly report. And then highlight one of our incidents that's actually a chicken coop that's on fire in that picture. Unfortunately, we did not save the chicken coop. Most of the chickens did survive, though. So the executive summary, like I said, is just going to be the highlights of what the chief is really focused on, or what he did focus on that month, and then occasionally some insights into what we're looking at in the future. January was primarily focused a lot around administrative functions. So as part of our strategic plan, one of our pillars is the administrative pillar on how we conduct business at the fire station as opposed to on emergency scenes. And we're always looking for ways to become more efficient. So I'm going to talk about some of the insights that we got from last year that we're beginning to implement this year. And that's the kind of material you can expect to see in the executive summary. The next section is an incident overview. It's just kind of a quick snapshot of our incidents by type. Now, I'd like to point out that this is a pretty significant change for the fire service. We transitioned from, at the federal level, a system called NFIRS. It was an acronym. It's essentially how we record what emergencies we respond to. So at the federal level, they changed that on us, and they warned us it was coming a couple of years in advance. But this is the first year we are totally immersed in the NARIS reporting system. NFIRS has been retired. So the categories, call types you see up there, are new to us. So we would not categorize things this way. And I do want to talk a little bit about this because it's a paradigm shift for us too on how we record our data. So I specifically want to draw your attention to hazardous situation. Under the old system, for us, that really just meant a hazmat call, some kind of chemical spill or something of that nature. That is no longer the case. So what they've done is they've recategorized when we respond to something that is a hazard, for example, a car accident where no one was hurt. So there's a car crash on the road, nobody's hurt, that's a hazardous situation for other people going by. That would now fall into hazardous situation as opposed to medical, which is how we recorded it in the past. So there's a pretty steep learning curve, especially for people like me and the chief who have been in the fire service for thousands of years and have always done it one way. So on top of the fact that our recording system, our record management system made the transition pretty seamlessly for us. So now we can begin to dive into this data, and I'm going to show you one highlight that we found out because of this new reporting system has actually helped us out a lot. Below that are turnout, travel, and total response times. So on the left is the what I'm talking about. In the middle is what Oshtemo is doing currently, and on the right is what we call the standard, or the NFPA 1710 standard, of what the goal is. I shouldn't say standard, it's the goal. I will tell you, although we are higher than what the goal is, I am very happy with our numbers. So nationally, I am not aware of a fire department that is capable of achieving the NFPA 1710 standard. It is a very high standard. We are going to continue to try to achieve it. I don't know that we ever will, but we're going to get as close as we can. So the fact that they allow us 80 seconds out the door and we're at 98, that's a great milestone for us, and we're going to continue to try to improve that. So,
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Is the 90th percentile what you're recording here, turnout 90th? Is that the percentile? And is that across Kalamazoo County Fire Departments, Michigan Fire Departments, or?
Yep. So the middle number is just Oshtemo, and on the far right, that is national.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're in the 90th percentile for these in all these mile markers as compared nationally.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
pretty good.
Yep.
That's pretty remarkable.
The next page, or if you flip it over, Here we have our community risk reduction. So this is the non-emergency stuff we do, and these are just broad categories. This is, I like to caveat this with, this is January's report, so it looks a little thin right now. It'll look a lot more robust in June because it's a monthly report. So real quick, inspections completed. We just started inspection season, so our crews go out and conduct inspection in commercial occupancies for safety hazards. We had one violation correction. That's when the fire marshal has to go out and tell someone you're not supposed to do that, and may levy a fine, may not. No fire investigations yet this year. Public education events, January's, actually the whole winter is pretty slow for us, but in the spring and summer it'll pick up. We have a food truck inspection season, and that is coming up. They want to get their food trucks inspected before the good weather because they're going to start selling their product. We technically have 2 car seat installation technicians, but we only have one that actually routinely does it. And that's our admin assistant, Erin, and she's already done 11 inspections this year. So what you're going to see in the future is the bottom number there is the total residents reached is going to be, basically we're going to combine all these numbers and keep track of the total number of residents we reach, but we actually are going to break it down by age groups as well. So we can start looking at focusing on specific age groups, and I'll talk about why in just a second. Last thing I want to direct your attention to is the training and readiness. These are training hours this month and year for our 4 major areas that we train on: fire suppression, EMS, technical rescue, and then it says officer development, but it's really just personnel development. We include the firefighters in our officer, and that's how many hours in January we recorded in our RMS for training. Are there any questions? I went through that really fast. I know it's in front of you. I can start talking about what we're doing with this data in just a second.
Trustee Ford, any questions? Trustee Sikora?
Do you have more that you're going to talk about, or?
Yeah, I'm just, now I'm going to talk about how we use the data and what we've discovered. Yep.
Okay, I can wait.
Okay.
Trustee Chapman? Clerk Farmer? Treasurer Bushka? No? Okay.
Okay, so just real quick, the change to NARIS that I talked about earlier, so if we look at our incident overview, one of the things we've been noticing is one of our commercial occupancies, it takes up a lot of our time with medical alarms. In the past, we had no way of recording that. NFIRS, the old system, did not record false medical alarms. NARIS does. So what we've been able to do is look at, NARIS has done a very good job of showing us what we actually do. They have a lot more categories. And somehow, I don't know how they did this, but they actually made it a lot more intuitive for us to categorize. Although there are more categories, they made it more intuitive to categorize our incidents. Anyway, so for example, we noticed that one of our commercial occupancies has a significantly higher false medical alarm than other ones. So we're working with their management right now to find out why and see if there's a way to alleviate that. Every time a medical alarm trips, obviously we have to send one of our fire trucks and our on-staff personnel, and they're tied up. They're committed to that call. So even while en route, if we get another one, like a heart attack, they're already committed to that one. We have to either send Station 2 or call mutual aid. So with these kind of insights, we're able to identify them, first of all, which we haven't been able to in the past, and then address them and hopefully bring those numbers down. The other thing that we're able to do is kind of really drill down into our medical call, all our calls, but medical specifically. The number one reason someone calls us is a trouble breathing call. Not a whole lot we can do about that. I'm suffering from that right now. So the number 2, though, is falls. So we can look at what is causing these falls. Is it just slip trips on the ice, or is it some of our elderly residents? What we've discovered is as they go to stand up with their walker, they haven't set their brake. So the walker rolls out from them. So we've already discovered that and addressed it with some of our commercial occupancies. We'll see if the number of falls decreases. But these are the kinds of community risk reduction initiatives we're able to glean now that we have better data. So those are just two examples. I would welcome any questions, comments, or any, oh, I'm sorry, there's one more, sorry. There is something missing from the monthly report this month that will be next month. You have on the flip side, on that back side again, there's a lot of empty space at the bottom. I hate empty space. So we had planned on having what we call a department highlight. So we're gonna highlight an employee every month as well, somebody who's gone kind of above and beyond what we would expect of our firefighters or staff. And they will be highlighted at the bottom there. That was kind of a recommendation that was made very recently. I thought it was a great idea, and we decided to implement it. And now I welcome your questions or any feedback for the monthly report.
Trustee Chapman?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Clerk Burmer? Questions? Trustee Ford? Trustee Sikora?
I do, but Treasurer Bushka has,
That's okay, go ahead.
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
You may ask my question.
Okay. No, I probably doubt it.
Are we
But
fighting
anyway.
over questions?
No, she had already ready to hit her microphone, so I was going to defer.
Oh.
Anyway, thank you for this. I know I've talked with the chief about having one of these reports, and this is a great start, and I'm glad that you're doing this. I know Texas Township is what had caught my eye. They put one in their Facebook page regularly that I see, and hopefully we'll be working with Rich. Maybe we'll be having something for our citizens to be able to see. So thank you for doing that. I'm trying to think of what the other questions were. So for example, like if you come out to a concert in the park, would that be under, it's not really public education if you're just there, or is it? Or
Yep.
would it be community?
Yep, that's a great point. So under public education events, we actually just had this talk today internally. We're going to get rid of the word education, and it's going to become public events. Because, to your point, we do a lot more than just educate. Although in that situation, I think we're just showing off our good looks and our fire trucks. But we would quantify that as a public event, and that's actually how our RMS tracks it. Public education event is kind of the old school, that NFERS way of recording things, so it's just us catching up with the vernacular. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, I think, to delineate those two, because yes, you may be just there, but,
yeah.
you know, the idea of you being there is so citizens and kids and everybody will come up and talk to you, in which case
Yeah.
you're doing education too, you know, in addition to.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like you're not just there for your good looks and the good things and your drugs. You're also
Yes.
reaching out to the other. And the other thing, it clicked into my mind, you had a thing about car seat installation.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing, I think it was either Comstocks or Texas Township had a posting that there's an upcoming event. And I don't know whether, and that's getting publicized here, that we're one of the locations that put their scheduled events.
Yep.
So I assume that that's going to get out
We-
there too. It just caught my eye when I was looking the other day.
Annually, we do host one of those events. Ours is usually in the spring, summer, late spring, early summer. We also host annually the class that trains the people at our fire station too, and we've hosted that for a very long time. I actually took that class, I think, back in 2007 or 8 at Station 2. So yeah, we actually do it twice. What's awesome about that training is, in order for the students to graduate, we have to put on an event, and they have to be certified by an observer. So we actually end up getting 2 events out of it locally here. Yep.
Great, thank you.
I'm sorry, I promise I'm not trying to make you talk more than you need to.
No, that's okay.
The non-emergency, is that what you were explaining, where it's like a false alarm, and is it, can you explain it a little bit, where we're
Yeah.
responding, but there's actually not an emergency?
Yep. So non-emergency events can be, actually, I'll just bring that up there. It can be a false alarm, and typically that's what a lot of them are. We get canceled en route a lot. So somebody calls 911, and the initial things they say to the dispatcher would indicate, oh, they're having a medical emergency. So they push the button quickly, which is what we want. Then they ask follow-up questions and find out, oh, they're not actually having a medical emergency. There's no need for a fire truck to respond to this. We still record that. If the fire truck left the station, we make a report of it. If they cancel us before we get inside the cab of the truck, then, so they have about 80 seconds to cancel us. Otherwise, we're going to make a report. But yes, that would be an example of a non-emergency. We also do, even though it may sound like an emergency, like wires down. We will go babysit those wires if we feel that they're a hazard to the public until Consumers Energy gets on scene to, so that would be a non-emergency call. So that's just how NARIS records those incidents.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's definitely a debate whether that a live wire on the ground is an emergency or not, but I think what they're thinking is we are not the department that does something about it. We're just protecting people from it. And then the people who can fix it, we're just waiting for them.
I have just a couple comments and questions. I think you touched on it, but this monthly report, does it align with your strategic plan? Did you put a placeholder, is it in there so that you're meeting that milestone?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. And I think if you want monthly, should we plan on the second meeting of each month for your report?
That, either one is fine for the fire department, whatever fits the agenda.
So I think you can use the agenda creator now and go
Yep.
in and mark those in
Okay.
advance so that those placeholders are in there. I'd also, I mean, I think this would be good information just to put in the packet.
Yes.
So if we can get to a place where this is available to put into the packet, I'd like to see that move forward as well. And then I think one thing I want to share with the board and the community, and I think trustee Sikora is the one that told me about it, but there's a Facebook page called Kalamazoo Area Scanner, where the calls coming out of 911 for the Kalamazoo area, they don't log all the calls. I think they log kind of more urgent ones or whatever, but I encourage you to look at that because it's a snapshot of the runs that the fire department is doing, and then you can see the conversation between public safety response and 911. So it's just a good resource, and I look at it every morning to see what night shift was up to the night before. So anyway.
We were in Texas Township all night. They had a structure fire, so
Yeah.
that's our Station 2 was assisting them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've
Oh,
got
welcome.
West Michigan Sirens and Scanners too, that covers a broader area. I
Oh,
didn't know that
really?
There was a
Okay.
specific Kalamazoo one. This is one that I follow too, and they do have Kalamazoo stuff as well, so.
Welcome, trustee Cole. Thanks for joining us. Any other comments or questions?
I have one. Yeah, so I apologize for being late. Full-time job. Had me hopping today. I have a question about you, and I apologize if this was already covered. You researched electric vehicle options for the future fire chief's truck capable of supporting emergency vehicle electrical loads. Can you tell me what you came up with, and does that include looking into how they operate in Michigan winter and et cetera? Okay.
yeah, so, we have to replace the chief's vehicle this year, and internally, we had decided that we wanted the chief's vehicle to kind of beta test an electric emergency response vehicle. And we had one picked out and lined up. They stopped making it. This particular manufacturer just stopped the police package is what we purchased. They stopped making that one. So then we went to another manufacturer and said, we're looking for something similar. And they said, yes, we have two of them nationally. Both of them are on a no-sale recall. So we could not find the right fit this time for that vehicle.
Any idea why the first one no longer is making them, and the no-call recall, what was?
The recall was actually just the parking brake, but they're not going to sell them until they get that fixed.
Oh.
So we were kind of waiting in a holding pattern. The other manufacturer, I'm speculating here, it has to do with the electrical system itself. We, we draw a lot more power on our vehicles than a standard. So I think that they thought they had solved that problem and figured out they had not yet solved that problem.
Okay, because that's, I mean, the topic has come up about the electric vehicles multiple times, and I have always expressed a little concern with having one as an emergency response vehicle. So, yeah, I was just curious, but the two that you had looked at, you felt comfortable that they would be able to, handle everything that you needed to do, even under our conditions? Okay.
Yes. So that another issue we're running into is finding a fire department that are deploying electric vehicles, specifically these two manufacturers. Ann Arbor was our source for a while, but they got into the game really early. So we're talking really early electric vehicle technology, and they've had nothing but problems. So when you call their chief, he's, no, don't wait. But that was also 5 years ago technology. So technology has improved drastically. And that's also why we kind of want to beta test it with the chief's vehicle. Don't tell the chief this, but.
Yeah, because
Right. So if something goes wrong, it's just, the chief.
vehicle.
The firefighters will still get there.
Just the chief.
Just the
Yeah,
chief.
no, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I
So.
can say that because he's like 3.5 hours away right now, so.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Chief, I see you're on the phone. You don't have your hand raised. If you wanted to add anything to the report, I'd welcome that. You're unmuted, Chief.
Okay, I don't know how to raise my hand on this thing. Yeah, so I'm hoping that, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hoping that report is what we were looking for from the board level. If there's any changes that anybody wants, please let us know. And if you are fine with it just coming in the board packet, we can do that. If you want us speaking at the meetings, we're more than happy to do that also. To the electric vehicle thing, the two pickup trucks that are available, Ford F-150 Lightnings, they're the Pro SSV, which is the package that has the heavier 12-volt system in it. There are two left in the United States that Sealy Ford has found. I'd be more than happy to try one of them, but the stopping point right now is we got to figure out the electrical at the stations and how we're going to do this before we buy the truck. As soon as we get that part figured out, I'll be more than happy to push a budget amendment towards you and see if we can get that passed. But thank you for hearing us out tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chief. All right.
I'm just hanging out because I think I'm next.
Oh, yeah, you're not done yet, are you? All right, well, thank you for bringing that monthly fire department report, and look forward to that steady, regular communication. So next, we'll move on to item number 10, which is the budget amendments in tonight's packet. Let me advance my agenda here. First one is for hiring expenses. Eric, do you want to give us an overview of this amendment?
Yes, we are still attempting to fill our full-time vacancy that we have. We went through the hiring process once, got all the way to the end. We were going to make a job offer, and the candidate pulled out. We didn't have a number two because nobody else passed our testing criteria. So we had to start over. The physical agility test they take costs us money, and the written exam they take costs us money. So these are just unexpected costs associated with having to hire again.
Any questions from the board regarding this budget amendment?
Just curious why the applicant withdrew last minute.
We actually did talk to him, just, it had nothing to do with Oshtemo. As an organization, he's familiar with our fire department and was very passionate about coming back here. It was a family situation. So relocating and getting a new job with his family situation wasn't a good time for him.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Just curious.
Any further questions? Okay, before we move to board discussion and a potential motion at this time, is there anyone in the audience wishing to make public comment on this budget amendment? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment and welcome board discussion or a motion.
I move that we approve the budget amendment for new hire expenses for $2,000.
Support.
A motion by Clerk Farmer and support by Trustee Cole. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have item B, which is a budget amendment for the fire department regarding physical fitness equipment. Take it away.
Okay, this is a program that during the budget process didn't make it through. We had to cut, we have a fitness and wellness program as part of our strategic plan, and we had some objectives, but it just didn't make it through the budget process. So during the year, and we have some examples in the background in the packet, but essentially, we were able to save enough money on approved purchases that we now have the funds available to fund the half of our fitness and wellness program. And the half that we want to fund right now is equipment. So we have limited equipment here at Station 1, and we have more equipment, but it's aging. It was purchased with a grant from our old Deputy Chief Griffin. So we want to replace both stations' physical fitness equipment with new and updated equipment. And that will help us align our fitness and wellness objectives for our strategic planning.
So I just had a question on that one, and you kind of touched on it a little. And I realize that most of the money is there from the other cuts, or I guess what we didn't spend, and let me preface this with, I absolutely agree with, that it is something that I support doing. I think physical fitness for our firefighters is paramount. But did we look at any grants or wellness program? Okay, we did.
Yes, there are 2 grants. So this is part of a two-phase. What we're trying to do is purchase equipment. We are also trying to get a local contract with West Hills to get a dietitian and a physical fitness expert to make a custom plan for each one of our members. That we are seeking a grant outside of Oshtemo to try to help fund that. The equipment, unfortunately, the federal government comes out with their list of priorities for gym equipment is not, it didn't even make honorable mention.
Didn't make the cut this year.
No, didn't even make honorable mention. So local grants are still a possibility because this money is not all-inclusive. It's not an all-inclusive list of equipment we need. It'll just be the primary equipment we need.
Comparing and then what you need, and then maybe you can do a little better with some local grant on top of it. Okay.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes, can you tell us what equipment specifically that you had in mind?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us a little more about the equipment that you had in mind?
Yep.
Some Pilates.
Yeah. So up here at Station 1, we only have dumbbells and a treadmill, and that's it. Down at Station 2, we have a better variety of equipment. The equipment is just old. It's been used quite a bit and worn out. So what we want to do is replace it with, there will be some dumbbell replacements, but we don't have to buy a full set because we have them. Kettlebells is another big item, and then I'm trying to think of the word. It's a system for doing like lower body and upper body together. So to do squats, bench press, that kind of stuff. So a lot of weights, and then for the cardiovascular part of it, we have 2 rowers that they're just old. They've they've been in the fire service about as long as I have been. So, and then both of our treadmills are, I'm sorry, the one at Station 2 is new. We're going to replace the one here at Station 1.
And what is the life expectancy of the equipment, roughly?
Yeah, I would expect the weights forever. I can't see those. The reason we're replacing some of the dumbbells that are up here are, they were used for non-weightlifting activities, specifically training, bounced off roofs and stuff like that. So some of them, it may say 25 pounds, but it probably weighs about 22.5 at this point. So we're just replacing those. The treadmills or any electrical equipment, right now, what we're seeing online is between 15 and 20 years is what they say, but they also caveat that with frequency of use. Yeah. So if you put it in a 24-hour fitness, it won't last that long.
Right, which is why the maintenance is probably, are you rolling in the maintenance for that as well, I'm assuming? Okay, yeah.
Any other questions for the deputy chief on this budget amendment? Okay, thank you. At this time, before we go into board deliberation and discussion, I would welcome any public comment on this item. Do we have any members of the public wishing to speak about item 10B? Seeing none, I will close public comment. We can move to board deliberation.
I will make a motion if you're ready. I recall when I was at KDPS that we got a grant to get a lot of the workout equipment in there, and it was used quite frequently, and it was very nice to have. So I believe in training, especially for you guys, this position. So I will make a motion to reallocate $10,000 within capital outlay equipment budget for the purchase of exercise equipment, with all funds remaining within the same capital equipment account.
I'll second.
A motion by trustee Cole, a second by clerk Farmer. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have item D from Public Works regarding our GIS consultant. Ms. Horner, will you walk us through?
We have one more for
There's one more
fire.
fire.
Oh, you know why? Never mind. Doesn't matter why. You're right, I did. Okay.
Because you're sick of hearing my voice.
No, that's not true. It's the training word twice. Okay, yeah, thank you. DC, do you want to talk us through this one?
Yes, budget amendment for training supplies. So our training officer came to us in a panic and said, my training supply budget's gone. And we said, it's February, that's not possible. So when he showed us, we think what happened was when we were going through the budgeting process, we didn't put a 0 at the end of one of the numbers. So he got $500 instead of $5,000. And he burned through that already. So the good news is, we were going to take delivery of a new training record management system, and it was going to cost us more than the one we currently use. They are not ready for prime time. They gave us their demonstration, and we were not impressed. They don't have a bad product, it's just not ready. And we were not interested in purchasing it this year, maybe next year. So we'd like to take the money that we were going to use to purchase that record management system and give it back to the training program so he can buy training supplies.
Do you have any questions? Okay. Thank you, Deputy Chief. At this time, before we move into board deliberation, is there any members of the public wishing to comment on item 10C, fire training equipment? Seeing no public comment, I will close public comment. We can go into board deliberation.
I move to approve the budget amendment for training supplies as presented.
Support.
A motion by trustee Ford, support by trustee Sikora. Any discussion on this motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Next, we'll move to item D, Public Works, regarding the GIS consultant. Ms. Horner, do you mind walking us through this request?
Yep, so we are asking to move money from the salary lines to a consultant or a professional fees line, because we are still using Prine Newhoff, Julie, to conduct all of our GIS updates and projects through Public Works and Planning. And this was just a better way for us to set up the PO as well. So we're going to pull from each of these different places and continue to use her services. It has worked out really well. She's in the office every other week right now through the winter and post maternity leave, but anticipates coming back to being in the office once a week so that she's accessible for the staff. And her and I have started working on a way to do some more training, both internally, and then have been meeting with Rich and Media and Communications for how we can share more GIS capabilities to the public as well, because it is a great tool that we have. So we had the position for about 18 months internally, but this has worked out really well for us. So it's kind of if it's not broke, don't fix it at this point, until we can evaluate rehiring that position. HR's had a few other positions in the hopper that have been their priority. So we're basically relocating these from the salary line to the professional fees line, just for a better clarity and tracking for what the service is and which line it's coming from. So no change in the budget, it's just moving it into the appropriate GL line.
Thank you. Any questions for Public Works Director?
Just one quick question. When I was a little confused in reading the memo, in the sense that I support what you're doing, but why is money going to 4 different accounts as opposed to pay for one thing?
Because we, they're each, the middle 3 numbers are or I guess it's the first 3 and the middle 3 describe where it's coming from. So because some of the work is done for the planning department, some of it's done for the road fund, some of it's done for sewer, and some's from water, that's how we set up we call them allocation tables. But essentially those different funds, because they can only be spent on those specific things, we have to set them up in those GLs.
Super, thank you.
Any other questions for Public Works? All right, thank you. At this time, before we move into board deliberation, this would be an opportunity if you want to speak on the budget amendment 10D for the Public Works and GIS consultant. Yeah, please, come, yep, you have 4 minutes. If you wouldn't mind.
First time here,
Well,
Ronnie Ryan. How are you? GL, General Ledger, GIS is
Geographic information system.
systems. That's all that I wanted to ask.
Okay,
That's all.
very good. No,
Could
thank
ask
you.
it over there, but yeah, we're good? All right,
Yeah,
thank
we're
you.
good.
We need a legend next time.
Yeah, I know,
An
that's the
acronym
thing about
legend.
acronyms. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment on item D. We can move to board deliberation on this matter.
I move to approve the budget amendment for GIS consultant services.
Support?
A motion by trustee Ford, support by trustee Sikora. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And I can't underscore and agree enough with Public Works Director Horner that Julie is terrific to work with, and they've got some really good ideas about how we can expand and do more in our GIS sphere, because it is a powerful tool. Next, we'll move to item 11, which is a first reading regarding moratorium on commercial data centers. And kind of preface this with a little discussion last week, but we can have more discussion if you all would like. But This is an attempt to get out ahead of any potential interested party that might want to build a data center in our community, to which, of my awareness, there are none yet. But this is preventative. And since we know the battery energy storage work will be moving on in the Planning Commission, this will allow us time to work on, I guess, ordinances potentially regarding data energy, commercial data energy centers. Our Public Works, our Planning Director, Ms. DeForia, is here. But if there's any questions about this?
I guess the only question is if we're going to put a moratorium in place, does that mean that we're prepared to do the work at the planning department and commission level to have an ordinance that would govern data centers in the future, or what?
I won't speak for Jody, but I mean, at some point, we'll have to address that issue.
Okay.
I obviously think it will be secondary to anything that we're working on in battery energy storage systems.
Okay, yeah, in my mind, they're kind of obviously tied together at the hip as the sector is going, so it makes sense to do something. I just wanted to understand that we were going to not do nothing during that period of time, I suppose.
Yeah, thank you for that, Zach, because I was going to bring that up as well. I'm obviously very much in support of this, and since we are in front of it, like, let's not drag our feet. Let's get the information we need. Jim already sent something shortly after the last board meeting, I believe, that was really informative about these centers. And I also want to thank Trustee Chapman. I did watch the Planning Commission, the last Planning Commission meet, and I know that you hopefully have started the wheels turning to put together some type of collaborative information sharing group that includes the residents and people that have knowledge, so that we can all share information. So thank you for that, and I think that would be valuable for this as well. But yeah, let's have a plan to find out what we need to find out, so that when we are drafting an ordinance, that we are doing it with all of the information possibly that would go into that we need to take into account. And again, I'll also request that with both this and the BESS facilities, that we also extend your invitation to create a group to other local municipalities that are around here in Kalamazoo County, just for information sharing, so.
Thanks, Trustee Gould. Does anyone have any questions for the Planning Director regarding this? Okay.
I guess I'll just direct my question to you, Jody. Is it in your intention then to try to work through ordinance language with the Planning Commission during this moratorium period?
Well, we will be working on it, but we have some very full agendas coming up the next couple of months, and I think the best renewable energy ordinance is a higher priority. And neither one of these land uses is limited to a community. I really think they need a collaborative regional approach. And I would love to see the region or the county provide some leadership on this as we work through crafting ordinances. I mean, we have ordinance language, we're doing our own research, but like water usage and energy usage for a data center doesn't just impact whatever jurisdiction it's located in.
Okay, thank you for that information.
But we did extend, correct me if I'm wrong, Sherry, you did extend an invitation to the county to start something collaboratively on the BESS facilities, and that didn't go anywhere, so we maybe have to take the lead.
That's not exactly true. I did tell you, or I did report that I talked to the county on it, but there had, as of the last meeting, but I was going to report it during my supervisor's comment, but that actually is progressing.
Okay.
And nothing's been set yet, but the county, I think, heard the, and actually, Trustee Chapman, you might have heard something at the EHAC committee too, but the county planning director indicated that her and the deputy county administrator are working on whether it's going to be a town hall or so it is it's beginning to take shape. And I haven't watched the meeting yet, but I believe that at the last county commission meeting, they spoke about this, because I caught a clip somewhere when I was watching meetings that it looked like the Chair Strauss was speaking to it. So I think more to come.
Okay, all right, perfect. I just thought if we have to take the lead, we may just have to take the lead if nobody else wants to, but, because we're in the position we're in. But if it's, I just want to not have it fall off the radar, that's all.
Oh, it won't, it can't.
It will not. Okay. Any other questions for the planning director at this time? All right. Thank you, Jody. At this time, if there's anyone in the public wishing to speak on item number 11, which is first reading on a moratorium on commercial data centers, I welcome you to provide those comments. You have 4 minutes.
Sure. I need 30 seconds. I'm Bruce Goethe, Oshtemo resident. We have a busy agenda for the Planning Commission, but the meeting is canceled for this Thursday. And I'm not sure why that is, so why is that? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goethe. Any other public comment? Hello, Mr. Morrison.
Good evening. My name's Rob Morrison. I'm an Oshtemo resident. I support a moratorium on the data centers because I've been researching PA 233 and data centers for a while now. Really, PA 233 is about renewable energy sources, wind, solar, and batteries. The batteries really don't belong in it, but it's already a law, so that's an issue for us. So I'm glad that we are looking at ordinances for these various issues, because some of the solar and wind actually can be beneficial. The problem is it's the large-scale systems that I've seen for all of these, especially for batteries. So I'd just like to support that moratorium because data centers actually use energy. They're different from the other resources because they don't produce energy, they use it. And it is this is more of a county and state issue because if you're going to be sucking up water in one county or township, it's going to impact another township. And so I understand the Plan Commission does have a lot to play, especially with the master plan, which would be helpful to have that, I guess, in place because that is also another factor. So I'm glad that you're not going to let this issue go. So I just wanted to point that out to everyone, which may already be clear to you. But yeah, the data centers, there are already quite a few communities in Michigan and other states that are now opposing them and their lawsuits. So there's a lot going on already. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Any other public comment? Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Christy Wolf. I'm a Oshtemo resident, and I just wanted to speak again and how much we do not want, I'm speaking from my family's perspective, the battery storage system, and now I'm hearing data centers, just, Oshtemo's primarily occupied by residents, and these are our homes. This is where we live, we want to enjoy life, and I'm just taking a lot of encouragement, spending time on the website, looking at the mission and vision and all of that of the township, and I'm feeling encouraged because we're looking to advance the quality of life of all the residents, and putting these in place is not advancing our quality of life. And, under the vision, it talks about rural preservation. And where this proposed site is for the battery storage systems, it's right in the heart of beautiful land that's natural, rural residential area. This is not a place for this. So there's discussion about moratoriums. I think that's a good thing. I'm just encouraging you to all do everything in every fiber of your being to just keep this away, just keep it out of our township, away from our homes, protect your residents, anything, everything you can do, we appreciate, and just keep working hard at, just get it out of here. We don't want it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. Any other public comment on this topic? Okay, at this time, I will close the public comment on item number 11. We can move into board deliberation. This is a roll call vote, right?
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be? Okay.
Except for first reading, except for second reading.
Okay, but it doesn't need to be roll call. Okay, I couldn't remember. Any board conversation on this topic? If not,
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the first reading of the moratorium on commercial data centers and set second reading for March 10th, 2026.
Support.
a motion by trustee Sikora. I think I heard trustee Chapman first. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Okay. 310 is already looking to be a good beefy meeting. Next, we'll move to item 12. This is discussion and consideration presented by our planning director, Jody Staforia, the West Ridge Circle platted lot redescription. Or is this our zoning administrator?
Right, I would love to take this opportunity to introduce our rockstar zoning administrator, Leanna Harris. Hello there. So what you have before you is a redescription and variance request for 2 platted lots within the West Ridge, or the Country Club Village Number 3 plat. This was established in 1965. The applicant approached us regarding a property line dispute because of a fence, and due to the authority given to the Township Board in Section 290 of the ordinance, a variance would have to be requested to allow the southern property line to be adjusted 5 feet. The lot that would be losing the square footage is already non-conforming with respects to the square footage and the frontage. However, the other lot does currently comply with ordinance requirements. However, both of them have been in this configuration since at least 1967. And I would be willing to answer any questions that the board may have about this request.
Yeah, this one really
Thank you,
puzzled
Leanna.
me. I have questions on this,
Yeah,
so.
sure.
Because first I was trying to look at the application, I'm like, are both lot owners agreeing to this? It doesn't sound like it from what you just said.
Yeah, so one of the property owners is in the audience tonight. However, she has indicated that both of them are agreeable to this redescription and have both signed the application and provided part of the fee for their request. So
Okay,
they are both agreeable.
That was the biggest question that I had. That's perfect.
You'll have time, ma'am, you'll have time to come to the board. Thank you.
So now just, I guess my follow-up question is a little more out of curiosity. With the dispute over the fence, or like one person, did somebody put up a fence that wasn't on their property and that?
Yeah, so due to the Ferlito development actually going in this area, a lot of the property owners in this plat were getting surveys done, and when that survey was done, it's my understanding the fence was discovered to be on Ms. Lindstrom's property instead. And so in order to, remedy that prior to, any sale of the property or anything like that, they wanted to fix this now.
Okay, thank you for satisfying my curiosity. I'm pleased that both parties are in agreement.
Certainly.
That's all.
Thank you. Any other questions? Trustee Sikora, go ahead.
So in my days in zoning that I've done, the idea when people came forward was to make something more, or make something less non-conforming, I guess. And we're making something more non-conforming. So
Right.
help me understand the rationale here.
Right, Lot 104 would increase the nonconformity of the frontage and the area. Lot 103 would be brought into conformance with respects to the setbacks, most likely, with regard to the side yard setbacks, but it would increase the nonconformity of Lot 104.
Yeah.
But we've made exceptions before for
Right,
things like
and,
that, right?
right, and as noted, near the end of the memo, they are in phase 2 of the Township Sewer Expansion Project, and if the sewer was installed already, they would be in conformance with the square footage requirements at least. But in this case, since this request is coming before the sewer being installed, they would have to meet that larger square footage requirement.
So eventually they'll come into compliance with the installation of sewer.
Oh, then they will, both will be in, okay, thank you for that.
Good question.
Okay, thanks. I'm set with
Thank you.
I have a question for legal on this. Why is this a township board matter and not a zoning board of appeals matter?
Because somebody in Lansing thought you should be the one making the decision.
Okay, is that because it's a lot line
It's-
adjustment?
It's in the statute.
Okay, I just was like.
I don't try to figure
Oh,
out
we
what,
did-
what they
isn't-
decide in Lansing.
Isn't land division the township's role?
Yes,
Yeah. This would count as land division, yeah?
correct.
Okay,
Yeah, but the reason it's here,
okay, that
somebody in
just was
Lansing thought
like,
it'd be a good idea to let you guys
sure.
deal with this issue instead
Totally,
of
totally fine.
a zoning board that does this all the time.
Thank you.
Don't ask me
State of
why.
Michigan, as always.
Yeah.
Any other board questions? Trustee Ford, Treasurer Bushka, Clerk Farmer, Trustee Chapman? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we would invite the applicant to come forward if there's anything you wanted to share with the board concerning this request.
Well, I'm excited that it's being discussed because I was totally floored when my surveyor said, to survey your land because of the new development coming in, I wanted to make sure I had my back property right. He said, it's behind your neighbor's fence. And it would be literally tens of thousands of dollars to take out that fence and everything. So we've worked it out very amicably, and the other owner, the Mahoneys, they said, just call me, I'll be right there to show his support, but they did sign, and it's worked out very amicably. So my kids are very happy that.
This is getting resolved, yeah.
Yeah, much easier while it's neighbors that get along, So thank you.
At this time, if there's anyone else in the public wishing to make comment on agenda item number 12, now would be the time. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move into board deliberation.
I was just going to comment that I appreciate our GIS system. I'm sitting here with our township website's GIS program, looking at the lot. So I've appreciated that, and I use it a lot.
Fun, isn't it?
So, thank you so much for doing that, and I certainly am glad that we're going to continue to do it. Did you want to make a motion, or you have questions?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
I'll just keep talking, I guess. All right, so as I'm reading this, motion to grant land redescription approval and variances from the frontage and area requirements of the ordinance to allow lots 104, which is 147 West Ridge Circle, and 103, which is 181 West Ridge Circle, of Country Club Village Number 3 to be redescribed, creating the resulting parcels as shown on the sealed land survey dated November 19, 2025, subject to an application for a land redescription being submitted for review and approval through the township's land redescription process. And I should have let Michael say this. I didn't realize it was that long.
That's exactly what
Well
I
done.
I will actually state that I will second this too. I'm always very pleased when neighbors can act like neighbors and come to an amicable agreement, so very much in
So I
support of
have
this.
a motion by trustee Sikora and a second by trustee Cole. Is there any discussion on this motion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Good luck, congratulations. Next, we have item 13, which is a discussion and consideration regarding Progressive Company's change in service request.
Yes, as everybody in this room knows, we are in the final stages with the Oshtemo 2045 Comprehensive Plan and the Master Streets Plan development and adoption process. Those have been significant undertakings. There's been a lot of public engagement throughout the process, probably more than we envisioned when the original contract was negotiated. There's been additional public meetings and presentations that weren't in the original scope, such as 2 presentations at joint board meetings, multiple presentations at the Planning Commission, and then again at this board. The original contract is from 2023, prior to my time with the township, but well underway when I started here, and a great process it has been. All the extra presentations and public engagement have resulted in thoughtful and thorough plans being crafted. And they are wrapping up the public review period right now, and will be in front of the Planning Commission next month for a public hearing. So we're not done yet. On March 12th, the Planning Commission will have the mandatory public hearing on the 2 draft planning documents. It may lead to further revisions. We've received some comments from the public during the public review period that we'll be sharing with the Planning Commission next month, and we anticipate comments being received at the meeting. I don't know if it will be quick turnaround, that can make the changes that night, or Progressive will need more time and then bring it back to a subsequent Planning Commission meeting, but ultimately, it'll be a recommendation of the Planning Commission sending the plans to the Township Board for adoption. And Progressive appropriately, that is the kind of the face of Sarah and Suzanne of these planning documents since the beginning. They're going to carry it across the finish line for us. The extra meetings that we have added to the schedule, they have not billed us for the meetings that they've already attended and the additional meetings of the Planning Commission and Board through the adoption process. We have not been invoiced since September by Progressive, yet they did attend meetings in October, November, and December here, presenting the plans to either you or the Planning Commission. So they have asked for a change in service to increase the contract amount by $7,500 for work that was accomplished late last year, and then what we know is coming in the first half of this year to, again, get the plans to adoption. So that is the request, to have a change in service to their contract amount in the amount of $7,500.
Thank you, Ms. DeForia. Any questions for the planning director?
Did the original contract specify the number of meetings or amount of time? Was there any specifications made?
Let me look at that real quick. It was more of lump sum by project because it was a big contract. It wasn't just the comprehensive plan. It was updating the access management plan, updating the complete street policy, writing the TMO. So I don't know that they called out specific meetings that would be just for the master plan. Comprehensive plan.
Anything further, Trustee Chapman?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. DeForia. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I add, I think I have the answer to Michael's question,
Mhm.
because I was here when we crafted that proposal, and we did stipulate the number of meetings, a minimum of, we wanted them to meet with the Planning Commission during the engagement session, and then the next phase, we wanted them to meet with the board at least once, and then we described how many, what did we call the stakeholders group?
Oh, the thought leaders.
The thought leaders, and I know they had more meetings than we initially prescribed for that as well. So we did specify those throughout the original RFP.
Thank you.
And those joint meetings were really an ask of the work group, so that all the boards would be on the same page instead of presenting individually, or the zoning board of appeals not knowing what's going on.
All right. At this time, if there's no other questions for the planning director, I'll open this item number 13 up for public comment. If there's anyone here in the public wishing to make comment regarding item 13, now would be your time. Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment and we can move into board deliberation. I'll just say that I think if Progressive A&E went back and did a thorough review of the amount of work that they've done for the township, it would go way above and beyond what they're requesting. So, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there on that one.
Yeah, I guess I would say that, the interactions I had with the group, as part of the thought leaders group, and then just the interactions with Progressive have been very positive. I don't always agree with some things that they were saying or suggesting, but they were always listening and we discussed things, and I really appreciate that. I was surprised that the amount was so low, but I'm not going to suggest that we add extra to it if they're not asking for it.
Right.
I would say I think they really have enjoyed working with the township as well. I think it's been a really positive experience internally and externally. So.
Is this a budget amendment? Is there a budget amendment coming if we approve this, or is there,
Where's the money coming from?
we're asking to add or change the agreement to add 7,500, but there's no budget amendment to add 7,500. Does it need one?
I guess you're the treasurer, you tell me if I need a return with a budget amendment, or can you just
Where's the money come from?
make that part of the motion? If you approve the change in service, we have the line item for consultants.
Is that the line you want to use?
Yeah, so where
Yeah,
would you
there's-
pull it out from to put in?
Yeah, we have a consultant budget line item for planning consultants.
Budget.
I do. I carry the budget with me everywhere I go.
I almost
I'm not
grabbed
even
mine
kidding about
tonight.
that.
I'm the treasurer and I don't carry the budget.
Your 101,
701.
101, 701.
when we're doing budget, I start to memorize these GL numbers, but then they all just slip out. Okay, so the request would be 11701. Okay, here we go. So there is 152,000 in the consultant GL number for the planning department. And there's 12,000 in general planning project consultant planning fees of 12,000. Is that where you would apply this? And then actually, it doesn't need a budget amendment. It's already got consultant. It would already be charged against this GL line.
That money wasn't intended for anything else?
Well, it's general planning projects and consultant planning fees.
Just in general, nothing specific?
I probably prepared that in June, so I would have to go back and look at my notes. But I knew this project wasn't going to be completed, and so it's probably the balance left on the contract.
So why don't we approve the service request today and maybe bring,
Budget.
Well, that's going to have a cost associated with it. We should do the budget amendment when we do the approval.
But I don't think
but we
she
don't know where
needs-
it's coming from.
She doesn't, this does not need
No,
a
we
budget.
do know where it's coming from. It's coming from this line.
It's coming from this
Yes.
line.
My question to Jody was that intended for something else? And she said she'd have to look at her notes because we did this so early in the year.
We don't want to.
That's what I'm
take away
saying, I
from
don't want to
another project.
obligate these dollars for the expanded,
If it's for something else. I get
right,
you.
the
Yeah.
expanded contract with Progressive if
Okay.
it was for something else.
Okay.
So we could just fund it using carryover dollars. And then any dollars that weren't spent would be released back into the budget.
Right.
That would actually be my preferred way of doing this. The other way would be to bring back a budget amendment to to the board with more specifics. But again, that would come from carryover more likely, so I think we should probably just do it that way to begin with.
Well, one of those blue line items did address the balance on Progressive's contract, so I don't have it in front of me. I don't know what the other blue lines
Master
are.
plan implementation work is actually budgeted for 20,000 too.
Right. I have to assume that, no, the $7,500 that is being requested by Progressive is additional money that wasn't planned for. We already planned for that $20,000 for something else when we were budgeting for it 6 months ago. We already, that money's obligated for something.
Okay.
Well, that master plan implementation, but that goes towards my next agenda item,
Right.
which doesn't need that 20,000. Or does it?
I think you have it.
I don't have my budget in front of me. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for this
Question
question.
To the clerk, I guess. So the ask is to authorize to enter into the agreement. Funding that agreement is what we're
Talking about.
talking
Correct.
about. But if it turns out you don't have the funds you need from the line you think you do, wouldn't you just make a budget amendment and bring it back to us?
We could do that, and that would delay payment if we were already.
Potentially.
Potentially, I mean, well, we're already, this is payment for last year's services.
But they haven't been invoiced yet, so we're not sitting on an invoice. Or
So the
Right.
clerk is
Oh, right, right. I didn't
suggesting
mean
to
to
make
do
it
that.
cleaner. I mean, I think the consultant line, the general planning project consultant line, but if it feels cleaner to you as the clerk, that we use carryover funds to fund this specific $7,500, it's fine.
I do.
like,
I think that's
it's
how we
not
should
worth.
do it.
And then essentially that means that then becomes a new blue line in that GL number, right? Kind of get that?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the Progressive Company's change in service request to the original executed professional services agreement dated on June 7th, 2023, in the amount of $7,500 to be used from carryover and put in the correct line item to be able to pay this.
Support.
I have a motion by Treasurer Bushka, support by Trustee Sikora. Trying to do two things at once here. Any discussion on the motion? I have one clarifying, you mean 101,000, right? General
For
fund
carryover?
carryover?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just making myself a note. Okay, very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have discussion and consideration regarding a proposal for professional services with progressive companies. Next steps.
Yes, so once the comprehensive plan and the master street plan are adopted, we're gonna hit the ground running with implementation, which we anticipated a couple years ago when I applied to MISTA, Michigan State Housing Development Authority, for a $50,000 housing readiness incentive grant, which we were awarded, and I keep giving them quarterly updates as is required with their reporting that we're wrapping up the comprehensive plan, and then we're going to move towards implementation with a significant review and overhaul of the zoning ordinance and anything that might be in the way of affordable housing, attainable housing, anything that discourages housing. Let's learn to justify our minimum requirements, and if they're not appropriate or they're interfering with housing being built, how can we amend those? Also, how can we start implementing the comprehensive plan? We have this new place type called neighborhood residential, which envisions different densities depending on what this neighborhood residential abuts. If it's on the western half, or not, if it abuts the western half of the township, the density of housing we see there is going to be lower than the neighborhood residential place type that we might see on 9th Street, where a higher density with water and sewer might be appropriate. And so there's language in the plan about making it context appropriate, but we still need the zoning language to make that come to fruition. Master plan language is great, but you really need the zoning language to implement it. The master streets plan, that process has identified areas of the transportation and mobility ordinance. Everybody sounds okay? The transportation and mobility ordinance that need updates and amending part of it from the master streets plan and also just from planning and public works, working with that transportation and mobility ordinance for 2 years now and trying to apply it towards developments. We see areas where adjustments are needed. And that's very common in zoning and really any type of ordinance. You write it with the best intentions and then real life application, you realize some tweaks are needed. And we also have elements of the 2023 housing plan to implement yet. Quite a few. When I was reviewing it again the other day, I'm like, oh, check, check, check. We've already done these things like getting rid of parking minimums and allowing for accessory dwelling units, but there's other work to be done to implement that plan, which would be a part of this whole contract of $80,000. And of that, I said we have a $50,000 grant, no match required, so that we'll be able to draw on here in short order. I'll be working with the treasurer on exactly how to do that. We have $20,000 in that contract with Progressive that we were just talking about that was going to go to zoning work. Some of it related to developing an ordinance, going through the process and determining if you wanted to develop an ordinance to allow the different type of marijuana-related businesses in the township. And so there's $20,000 in that contract that we're going to pivot and allocate to this and include that work with this zoning work. And then the DDA budgeted $10,000, towards zoning amendments to look at the village commercial district and the village form-based code. And I think the direction we're going to go based on the comp plan is come up with neighborhood mixed use. I mean, we have neighborhood mixed use place site, but write zoning language that achieves that. And it won't be just at the 9th Street and Stadium area. There are other areas in the township where we've identified a neighborhood mixed use might be the right future land use category. Now we need to create a zoning district that fits that. So we're asking for approval to enter into this professional services agreement with Progressive, and it just doesn't make sense to start over with another company. They are one of our preferred providers, and like Sherry said, they really enjoy working here. We have a great relationship, and they know the community so well at this point that we would ask for approval to enter into that agreement and have the supervisor sign it. So no new funds are required. Everything's already identified and allocated.
Questions?
Yeah, did I hear a specific amount towards the marijuana issue? Because I absolutely, adamantly, 100% oppose using funding for that. And I don't know if the rest of the board members do, but I adamantly oppose that in our township. So would that be something that, and I would ask this to the rest of the board, but is that something that we want to spend money on? Because I am perfectly happy with not partaking in the revenue sharing if it keeps the businesses out of our area. They're on the periphery of our community, and I don't support them being in our community.
Well, that money is already in the contract. We'll just be moving it over to this zoning work. I don't know how much time will be spent on that topic, but the money for zoning work is already identified and committed. So that would be an outstanding item with Progressive with our existing contract when the plan's done. That's the last project that didn't get accomplished, but it's in the services agreement for that previous work.
Any other questions for the planning director? Trustee Sikora?
I guess I'm more for trustee Chapman, sorry. I didn't get that information when I first read this memo about that, so I thought we don't allow anything now, is that in our zoning, is that we don't allow sales or
Right, nothing.
dispensaries?
None of it.
Correct.
So this would be looking at if there's a potential to add them back or allow them, or is that too specific for, I mean, because obviously we're against it, the previous board or whatever decided that, so.
Well, when the idea gets floated, it might get shot down, but we have $20,000 for marijuana ordinance review and amendments in the existing agreement. Progressive has said, we're willing to just move that to your other zoning project. And if you want it to include marijuana work, study, engagement with the community, or to see how people feel, but I'm picking up on how you feel right now.
Yeah, are you picking up on the sentiment where it's kind of being expressed in that how we got here to not having them, I think, in the first place, so.
So
do we want to even revisit
I can
it?
speak to how we got here in the
actually,
first place.
this board, that language was in the contract we approved when we approved the RFP for Progressive. Okay, so that was already outlined in there. This board has evolved from, there in the past has been frustration that the township didn't move faster and create an ordinance and allow it in the township, and now we're hearing kind of some different sentiments about that. I believe we've kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Porter, but we've kind of been floating around the edge on this issue a little bit.
My past recollection was that the board was in favor of that, but I don't know that I'm hearing that now.
Yeah.
The board has changed. There's different people sitting on the board, and
There's
that
a couple
obviously
of us
changed
that
the
were here.
makeup.
So the recollection was it was a new thing. There's 3 different pieces to the marijuana industry that the law regulates that we can opt in or out of. We've opted out of all of them. At the time, it was a wait and see. We didn't really want to rush in. It was new. That was kind of the thought process. I know for myself, I know Clerk Farmer at one point, we were in favor of making some opt-ins, whether it was 1 or all 3 or whatever it might be. I think from my perspective, it's just a personal liberties, freedoms thing. If folks want to run and operate those kinds of businesses, it's legal, and I'd say we ought to give them space to do that here in the town. I don't feel strongly one way or another about the township and marijuana at this point, but
And I
that
don't-
was how we got here.
But I think what is, the request is that money that was in the RFP to do that specific ordinance work, Jody, the planning director, is now asking to reallocate those funds to this other project.
So it would go, just so I'm clear, it would go from the marijuana topic to other topics, just to be clear. Is that the request?
Yes, it's in their proposal to ask the question, though, because they know it's in their existing agreement. So in this new work, they're going to ask the question, and if there's no support, then they'll check the box and focus their energy on other zoning work.
I want to just challenge the no support thing. I'm not like gung-ho and want to go 12 rounds with you guys over this, but I guess we should probably debate it a little bit, because I feel like 2 of you have expressed some pretty strong opposition.
Well, there will be time for that.
Okay, I don't know if we want to, when do we want to do that? I just want to,
Not tonight.
okay, fair.
How about a
Not
joint
on
meeting,
March
no pun
10th.
intended?
Joint meeting, pun intended. That was We're the chiefs of staff, sorry.
There will be
All right.
samples provided.
So, are there any further questions for the planning director on this request? Okay. At this time, if there's any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item, I misplaced my agenda, here we go. On item 14, discussion and consideration regarding this proposal, the board's considering, now would be the time to make that comment. Okay, seeing no public comment, I will close public comment and we can go into board deliberation. I, for one, am going to just say that there's no new money, just as a reminder, some reallocation of some funds. I am very proud of our staff and the forethought to go from master planning to walking right in to make these ordinance updates is tremendous. I mean, implementing the land use that the plan, the master plan has, requires ordinance strength behind it to do that, and the next step right after this to do ordinance updates is, I just think stellar work by planning, public works, legal, everybody. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. So I think I'm up to 4 cents now.
Make it a nickel.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with Progressive Companies for professional services to update the zoning ordinance and transportation and mobility ordinance in the amount of $80,000.
Second.
Motion by Clerk Farmer and a second by Trustee Ford. Any discussion on this motion? All in favor?
Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Trustee Sikora.
So, yeah, I'm all for that, the motion, but just in my mind, just popped into my mind. So if we have if they have this conversation or do the research on that item, it would still require us to change the zoning, and if there's going to be a change of zoning, it would still come back to us for zoning. So we would still have the ability to have another discussion or whatever, whether we agree with that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and in fact, you would have to reverse your opt-out. So
Right.
you're already on record as opting out, basically.
Super, thank you.
So a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion on that motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Nay. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Planning Department, for all your great work tonight. Next, we have item 15, which is a resolution to enter into closed session. I do see the time is 7 PM. I'm going to ask the fellow members of this board, do we want to take a 15-minute break or 10-minute break before we?
No.
Okay.
Let's pull through.
Just set it up.
Think about it twice. Okay, item 15.
how
Attorney
long do we
Porter,
expect
can you
closed
please
session?
read the resolution into the record?
Yeah, you have a resolution requesting to go into closed session to discuss a written opinion of counsel, and doing so in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the township's position and could disclose matters protected by attorney-client privilege. This is authorized under Section 8 of the Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Ford, second by clerk Farmer, and clerk, will you read the roll, please?
Trustee Cole?
Yes.
Trustee Ford?
Yes.
Trustee Chapman?
Yes?
Trustee Sikora?
Yes?
I vote yes. Treasurer Bushka?
Yes?
And Supervisor Bell?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted 7-0.
We are now in closed session. Okay,
Kristen had to run to the bathroom real quick.
that's all right, I'm going to call.
I
back
move to
the
return to
room.
open session.
Support.
I have a motion by trustee Ford, support by treasurer Bushka to return to open session. Let me find my agenda.
Are we ready to vote?
Well, trustee Cole stepped out for a moment.
She wasn't here at the beginning either, so
Okay,
let's just move on.
yep.
I made the motion to return to open session. I believe it was seconded.
Oh.
We're
By
open.
Bushka.
We got to vote to open.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6 with 1 absent. Okay, we are back in open session.
I'll make a motion to proceed as we discussed in closed session.
Support.
I have a motion by Clerk Farmer, support by Treasurer Bushka. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we move to item 16, which is public comment. I see we have no residents at Township Hall, and I see no hands raised online, so I will close public comment. We'll move to board member comments and committee updates, and we will start with Trustee Cole.
I have nothing tonight.
All right, thank you, Trustee Cole. Trustee Ford?
Yeah, I was able to attend the most recent police committee meeting. We had a very good conversation. I think I'll defer to you if you want to add some more comments as to where things are at, but thorough and robust conversations are abounding, so good.
Thank you. Trustee Chapman?
Yes, the Environmental Health Advisory Committee met at the county level, and we discussed battery electric storage systems. Unfortunately, the conversation was very elementary to get everybody up to speed with the very basics. They plan additional speakers to come in at a later date, but it was just to get everybody up to a baseline level of what a BES is and introduction to Public Act 233. 233?
Yeah.
233. So more will be coming from that. There was lively discussion. Oshtemo residents were well represented there. It was a good meeting. The Planning Commission also met. We had some interesting guests. We had guests from Kroger as well as the Forledo Group. Lively conversation occurred. And in the end, the Planning Commission felt that putting a Kroger in was not in accordance with our plans that we developed for a mixed-use district. We did ask the Forledo Group to go back to their original plans. The community was resoundingly in support of that based on the public comments. The next Planning Commission meeting has been canceled, but I want to support what somebody in the audience did say. We need to be careful closing those, canceling those. I know we didn't have anything on the agenda, but there is a public appearance, and providing people an opportunity to communicate or at least show some of the work that we're doing, it could behoove us to do that. But otherwise, that's the updates I have.
All right, thank you, Trustee Chapman. Trustee Sikora?
Yeah, thank you. The Friends of the Parks Board met on February the 24th. Our mission is to support Oshtemo Township's community parks through public programs, volunteer coordination, and fundraising. One highlight to report is our Music in the Park concerts that are set for this summer at Flesher Field. On June 28th, we have the band In the Gray. On July 19th, we have the band Blueback. And on August 23rd, we have the band Zion Lion. We also moved the start time back a half hour to help with the evening sun and heat. Concerts will now start at 6:30 p.m. instead of at 6, and they end at 8. There will be more information about these concerts provided in the future, and hope you can make one or more of the concerts. And I'd also like to wish Trustee Cole a happy Fire Possum year. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Sikora. Treasurer Bushka?
Curious about the possum day, but anyway. So tax update, I have immense gratitude to our front support staff. The last meeting, I had mentioned that we were 16 million to go. Asterisk, that does go out to other, goes out to other taxing jurisdictions, but we had 16 million to go before this coming Monday, the 2nd, and we are down to 1.4, so they have hustled with a smile, and so a huge amount of gratitude goes out to them for keeping everything together and moving along. Monday, the 2nd, is the last day for taxes before we have to shut that off and send it to the county. And so we will be open during lunch if anybody needs to run in during that time. It's just something we do the last day. I have a PMN meeting on Thursday, so I will update at the next meeting with any new information from them. And that is all I have.
All right, thank you. I know it's been a really busy time for you, Treasurer. Clerk Farmer?
Yeah. The Kalamazoo County Local Clerks Association meeting, we will be hosting that here on March 3rd. In the next couple of weeks, we'll have an election commission meeting to consolidate precincts for the May election and to appoint workers. Also, we met with the HR board work group, and as a result of that, we will be starting our interviews with the accountant position, starting next week, I believe. I think she started scheduling
It
on.
might even be a couple this week.
Yeah, there
towards the
might
end.
be. And that's all I have for right now for updates.
All right. From the supervisor's office, you've been notified by email, and Clerk Farmer's done the work to update the posting, but we discovered that the meeting room was double booked, and so we moved our joint board meeting to March 31st at 5:30 PM here at Township Hall. That's been communicated to all of the joint board members, and we'll do probably, as we get closer to that, we'll do some socials on that. I just wanted to remind the board members and the public that coupons for trash disposal are available beginning March 1st, and you can collect 3 months at a time, so we'll start pushing that information back out again. Yes, work on the police committee is moving forward. I did have a brief conversation with the administrator for the county. The Kalamazoo County Board will be discussing the requests, the capital cost requests at a public meeting. They will not, they're not changing their position on that at this time, and when I know that meeting date, I will invite you all to join at that. The county. The county board is going to have a public, or they're going to publicly discuss the capital costs that have been asked, that the township have been asked to pay for. And we need to be there to provide our feedback. So, in other words, that decision, this is for the police contract. Oh, I'm sorry, this is for the police contract. The Kalamazoo Regional Water and Wastewater Commission negotiations, again, thank you to our Public Works Director, Anna Horner, and Attorney Jim Porter. I am cautious, I mean, I am optimistic. The negotiations that have been ongoing for 40 years have taken some significant strides in the last 6 months. So we may be able to actually bring forward a contract before the end of the year for this board to consider and sign to work towards equalized rates. There was a lot of community concern around the changes to our snow ordinance and changing that to 24 hours after a snow event. And our ordinance enforcement officer, Alan Miller, provided me with a report that says, to date, we have issued 61 warning letters to both residential properties and businesses for the 25-26 winter season. Following the letters and several follow-up phone calls, all properties ultimately came into compliance. No citations were issued this season. There was one business that failed to comply after notification. As a result, we contracted with a lawn care service and cleared the sidewalk and billed the cost of that service to that business. So, Alan, I think, feels that the path that we set out and supported to make that ordinance change definitely worked this year. So I know he appreciated having a little bit more teeth while he was out there trying to enforce that. Clerk mentioned that we're moving to in-person interviews for the accountant. We had a robust number of applicants, but excited to move that process forward. This Friday, the Kalamazoo County Event Center Assessment District Authority will be meeting, which I'm a member, but that is a public meeting, and that meeting is at 10 a.m. this Friday, February 27th, February 27th at 10 a.m. at Discover Kalamazoo. So if anybody's interested in what's going on with the youth sports complex in more detail, you're free to attend that meeting. They are not televised. Jane Ghosh from Discover Kalamazoo will probably be coming to our April meeting to share the details of that project. The IT department and the Public Works department worked along with David in the supervisor's office, completed the RFP that went out for the texting program. So though that RFP closes, I believe, next Friday, so hopefully soon we'll be able to bring to the board a contract for consideration. The website needs to be overhauled next year, and so our IT director, John Gibson, has formed a committee, and that work will begin in earnest. A draft RFP is in the works right now, and so more to come on that. I know Trustee Ford was invited to participate in that. I don't think the invite's gone out yet. I just think you're on the list. You're on the
It's
list.
not the same group as before? Am I on the list?
You are on the list.
Okay.
You are on the list.
I want to be on the list.
Eventually, yeah, it'll probably all come together is one thing. Yep. So our March 10th and March 24th board meetings are already filling up quickly. At our March 10th board meeting, I'm flaking on who is going to be presenting for us. But our March 24th board meeting, the fire department will be here to share the information regarding if we want to make changes to our burn ordinance, and so that's coming. Our meeting communications director, Rich, will be presenting the township identity branding that to kind of cohesively start to work on that. And also Detective Kelm will be coming from Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office to give his quarterly update. I shared earlier, the county has started a conversation on some sort of town hall regarding the situation around BES and data centers. I am attending and have registered for the MTA conference this year. It's still open. It's not during a board meeting this year, which is rare, so you should take advantage of that. I'm also attending a training, I believe hosted by Michigan Association of Planning on capital improvement plans, looking to improve my knowledge as well as our process on capital improvement planning. The fire chief and is inviting all of the elected officials, not only for Oshtemo, but around the entire county. We will be teaching, Oshtemo Fire and Chief will be teaching an incident command systems overview. So this is where, for those of you that have been in some areas of service before, if there's an area that is like a tornado hits, there's a very specific protocol about how command is set up. And as elected officials, you should be aware and a part of that. There's 2 dates, but the date that will be held at Station 5-2 is April 1st, but you'll be getting an invitation to that. I attended a workshop for Discover Kalamazoo. They are drafting a tourism master plan and are very interested in what we're doing community by community as they build that together and trying to get some cohesion around how we how we can all work together, create unique ideas, share ideas, that sort of thing. So more to come on that. And I did have it on here. Oh, I did. I just skipped over it. Today was the Kalamazoo County Road Commission Board meeting. And Anna was there, Trustee Sikora was there, Zach was there, I was there. Oshtemo was well represented today. What's exciting, what's good news, I'm going to retract from exciting, is that our traffic control order for KL Avenue has been approved by the Road Commission. And so we will now be able to have KL Avenue, very specific stretch where there were commercial trucks parking along and making it very dangerous. We're going to be able to sign that and write tickets. So I think that covers everything. Oh, I think the last thing, and then I'll stop talking. Feels like there's so much going on. I just want to remind everyone, I believe that the public hearing for the master plan will be coming to the Planning Commission on March 12th. So really encourage, I know planning is gathering the feedback that's been submitted so far, but encourage you to watch that meeting when it happens. And with that, those are the updates from the supervisor's office, and this meeting is adjourned.